Well, after Luffy punched God and rang the bell, the Straw Hat Pirates fall from heaven and back onto the blue sea. Their time in the sky was fun, but they have to get back to their adventure on this mortal plane of existence. Sadly, the Going Merry has taken quite the beating over the last few months since the Straw Hat Pirates sailed off of Syrup Village. From getting its mast ripped off, to stab a whale, to the figurehead being broken, to being straight up eaten, the Mary has seen its fair share of adventure, and luckily it has Usopp to take care and repair it from all the abuse Luffy has put it through. Though his heart is in the right place, a carpenter he is not. So like it or not, the Straw Hats are going to have to find a carpenter to make proper repairs. Sooner rather than later, that they find themselves sleeping with sea kings. But we still have a few dozen chapters until they join. In the meantime, they finally set on an island whose inhabitants are very long. Long animals, long fruit, and since tallness is longness tilted on its side, that also means everything is very tall, too. Chopper, Luffy, and Usopp can't even see the tops of the trees and are perplexed by the sight of everything. However, not everything is as it seems. The bamboo on this island is hostile, as it attacks Luffy. However, being the future Pirate King, Luffy is not about to let some tall grass knock him around. So he attacks and the bamboo breaks. While victorious, Luffy and the gang find themselves the victims of an aerial assault. Turns out the bamboo was sentient and is out for the revenge. Wait. Oh, my bad. Turns out it was an old man who fell from the sky by the name of Tangent. The dude fell like 60 meters and is still fine, barring a few scrapes and bruises. What the hell? Anyway, grateful that Luffy saved him from his eternal damnation, Tangent invites them to his house for some milk. However, the milk has turned to cheese, and Tangent explains that he is a nomad, and the island they are on is called Long Ring Long Land. While it may look like 10 islands in a circle, Long Ring Long Land is in fact a ring-shaped island. Once a year, the tide recedes, allowing travel between the Fox Islands that make up the bigger island. That doesn't explain why everything is so long, but whatever. Tancred is part of a nomadic group of people that travels between these islands once every 3 years. Sadly, he got left behind when he got stuck on stilts. Sadly, with how everything works on Long Ring Long Land, it will be another 20 years until Tancred sees his people again. If only he had a horse to help him cross the land bridge when the tide goes down. Then he could catch up in a mere 5 years. Turns out he does have a horse. Sherry, the fine mare that she is, stayed and waited for her master to return, even though everyone else told her to come with them. She endured rain, snow, and crippling loneliness for 10 years, all while waiting for her master to return to her now. Well, her patience finally paid off. He has returned, and they can start catching up. Too bad she's shot, though. Everyone is shocked to see that happen. Luffy is about to gum bazooka the culprit, who would ruin this happy reunion. Well, look no further, Luffy. The culprit is standing right over there. His name is Foxy the Pirate Fox. Foxy the Silver Fox, and he is here to challenge you to a duel. Without hesitation, Luffy accepts the duel, much to Usopp's dismay. What Luffy just accepted was an ancient pirate traditional game where pirates challenge other pirates for members of their crew. According to Robin, it started out on a certain pirate paradise in the Grand Line. Wait, pirate paradise? Anyhow, it's a game where your very honor as a pirate is on the line, and Luffy makes no effort to decline this challenge. He is going to be king of the pirates after all. The Foxy Pirate set up confession stands and amusement park rides all over the coast, as Foxy explains the rules. There are 3 games, and there has to be at least 7 participants from each crew. One crew member cannot participate in more than 1 game, and you can't change the teams once they have been submitted. The first game is Donut Race, a simple boat race around the island. Nami, Usopp, and Robin go up against Porchi, Capote, and Manda. Contestants have to make a raft out of 3 barrels and 2 oars, and use whatever they got on their bodies to win. The race begins, and with some clever thinking, knowledge of how tides work, and use of an impact out, and cheating from Foxy, the Straw Hat Pirates lose the first game, as well as their doctor, Chopper. At the end of the day, this is a cutthroat competition between pirates after all, and while the Triads are against cheating, Foxy has no problem against that. He pulls out all the stops, sending a smoke screen to blind Usopp, Nami, and Robin, disguising himself as a sickly old lady and begs for help, setting up a fake goal to get them to stop. Luckily, the Straw Hats are a cut above the average pirate crew when it comes to intelligence. Okay, well, not by much, but Nami does not fall for any of Foxy's tricks, and though that crushes Foxy's self-esteem, he does have one last trick up his sleeve. Slow beam. And while this isn't so much a trick, more like an action, it is what causes them to lose the race. Foxy ate the slow fruit. With it, he can emit slowpoke particles, which causes whatever they hit to lose velocity. The effect lasts for 30 seconds, and Foxy is really good at timing it out. Most of the time. Well, the Straw Hats are down one member, and Trevor's not too keen of leaving. After all, they were the ones that convinced him to go out to sea and save his homeland from the timed Wapole. However, Zoro has enough of Chopper's shit and tells him that it was his choice to come out to sea with them, and their choice to play in these games. It's their own fault he got taken and no one else's. So stop crying and act like a man. Chopper sucks it up and sits quietly, waiting when the Straw Hats will win him back. Which is soon. The next game has begun. Groggy Ring. Zoro, Sanji, and Chopper are up against Hamburg, Pickles, and Big Bun. Except Chopper, since he got taken. He can't participate, so it's only Sanji and Zoro, who are not exactly too keen on working together, if you know what I mean. Foxy decides to take a back seat with his cheating, as Hamburg, Pickles, and Big Bun are Groggy Ring champions. Big Bun, in particular, is a half fishman, half giant hybrid, for example, and Pickles and Hamburg are about twice as tall as Zoro or Sanji, for example. But don't worry, there will be cheating. In Groggy Ring, each team has to get the other team's ball into the goal. Easy enough. But it's with a twist. The ball is strapped to one of the players' heads. Sanji for the Straw Hats and Big Bun for the Foxy Pirates. While the combination of Hamburg, Pickles, and Big Bun is intimidating, Zoro and Sanji's true opponent is their inability to work together whatsoever. They each rather go at it alone rather than to work together, and while that would give them results as it always had, in this competition where Zoro can use his swords and Sanji being the prime target, that's a problem. Even more so when their opponent starts to use weapons, told you they'd be cheating, that the ref conveniently didn't see, and thus the two get their asses kicked hard. So while bleeding on the ground, Sanji and Zoro decided to put aside their differences and finally work together for 10 seconds. And in those 10 seconds, Sanji pounds Hamburg, Zoro cuts Pickles, and both dunk Big Bun into the goal, winning them the game. But before Chopper could run back to the Straw Hats in open arms, Nami suggests taking Foxy instead. After all, he wouldn't be able to compete in the next game, making it an automatic forfeit, and they win Chopper back anyway. A good strategy, Nami, but that wouldn't be very sportsmanlike of you, would it? Would it truly be a win? But the bigger question is, do the Straw Hats want Foxy on their crew? Foxy for Straw Hat? Nah! Now it's time for the final match. Combat! Monkey D. Luffy versus Foxy the Silver Fox. After determining a proper battlefield, Foxy's ship, the Sexy Fox, both combatants get ready. The rules are simple. Whoever gets knocked out a bounce first loses. There is no time limit, and weapons found in the battleground are allowed. Now with both combatants ready, let the final match of the Davy backfight begin. Despite Luffy punching out God last arc, Foxy proved to be a worthy opponent. Not in the strength sense, but because of his trickery and devil fruit. This is a man that knows what his devil fruit does, and knows exactly how to use it in combination with his vast arsenal of weapons on his ship. He fires out a line of Foxy-shaped bombs, slows them down, and hides in the line to get a surprise attack on Luffy. Granted, when they explode, only he is caught up in the blast, so this fight is also a great showcase of how Foxy can be his own worst enemy. It's because of this trickery that Foxy could last this long. Luffy's stats are so much higher than his, it's kind of sad. It's because of Luffy's dim-wittedness and Foxy's cunning was that let this fight drag out for this long. I think that may be the reason this arc is not remembered all that well, but I'll go into that at the end of the video. Foxy leads Luffy into a room that contains his trump card, the Gorilla Puncher 13. No, it isn't a machine that punches gorillas, but a vehicle with a bunch of boxing gloves. Foxy uses this with his Delta Fruit to lay the smackdown on Luffy. Foxy then brings Luffy out on deck for everyone to see, but while he is down, Luffy is certainly not out. He gets back up and the two continue their fight, because he would rather die than lose a member of his crew, especially to the likes of Foxy. The two combatants unleash their deadly attacks against each other, neither backing down and giving it their all and then some. However, when Foxy tries to use his slow beam on Luffy again, Luffy reflects it with a mirror that got stuck in his afro. Now it's Foxy's turn to be slowed down. So, Luffy readies a gum flail and punches him hard. After that, it's only a matter of time. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0! Foxy is launched from the deck of his ship and is thrown out of bounds. The winner is Monkey D. Luffy. After a bit while both combatants are being nursed back to health, Foxy comes over to congratulate Luffy on his victory, showing that he was a good sport after not, but his attempt at petty revenge does get a chuckle out of me. Now it comes down to which crew member Luffy is going to pick. They are looking for a carpenter, and while Sanji has a suggestion, Luffy already has made up his mind. They're Jolly Roger. Now, Luffy is not heartless. He let them keep their sail so they can leave the island, but he drew them a new Jolly Roger to sail with. And I think that was the most horrible thing Luffy could do to them. Well, now with Foxy and his not-so-merry men gone, Luffy and company go to Tangent, remember him? And give him the Jolly Roger as a way to make right what Foxy did wrong. All is well and good, except the fact that since Shelly is injured, Tangent will have to put off his journey to find his family for a bit longer. They can't just take him on board the Mary and sail him to where his family is, because the log post wouldn't log on to the next island because it's still the same island. So that's out of the question, but luckily someone else has a solution. Meet Aokiji, a Navy Admiral of the Marines, a man Robin is none too pleased to see. Luckily, Aokiji is not the most dedicated to his job. His motto is lazy justice and finds the mere act of standing up tiring. But he still has the skills to pay the bills. He has the power of the chili fruit, and with it freezes the waters around Longream Longland so Tangent and Sherry could catch up with his family. With Tangent gone, Aokiji shows his real colors. The government has been keeping an eye on the Straw Hat Pirates ever since Alabasta, but hasn't took them seriously until Robin joined their crew. That's why the higher-up sent him out to search for her. Well, now that he has, Aokiji decided to end them before they could become a major threat. In less than a second, Aokiji freezes Robin, Zoro, and Sanji. Usopp and Chopper take Robin to the Mary to save her life, while Luffy then attacks Aokiji, and demands he face him one-on-one. As for Luffy, well, he certainly puts up a fight, and definitely A for effort, but this is before second, third, or fourth gear, as well as Haki, so he was quickly frozen over. However, intentional or not, Luffy trapped the Admiral via his word. Aokiji agreed to fight Luffy one-on-one, and while he no doubted won, if he goes after the rest of the crew, then he'd be breaking his word. In other words, Luffy got him. He says this to a frozen Luffy, mind you. Listen, Aokiji, I get you're a man of your word, but I would consider that promise fulfilled once you turn Luffy into an ice cube. But either way, Aokiji is not that kind of guy to chase after a pirate crew on his own, so he leaves, warning Luffy about Robin's brutal personality. Before he leaves, Aokiji checks where they will be going after Long Ring Longland, and is shocked to see it is Water 7, the City of Water. Things are going to get really interesting from here on out, and indeed they did. I thought this arc was filler. Really, I did. Like when I first watched it on clips on YouTube, like and heard about it, I thought it was filler. It really didn't seem all that important to the main story. But then when I read the manga, I was utterly surprised when Straw Hats landed on Long Ring Longland. Like I was really confused and just surprised to see that everything that happened in the clips I saw really happened. Like it was just so like the groggy ring, the donut race, and finally combat. Like everything was canon in the manga, yet it was never referenced all that much after this arc. Like, and I find that really weird. Uh, well, now now my overall thoughts of this arc is good. Yeah, not too stellar, not too grand, not really all that bad, just good. It's a nice break from the action that happened in the sky, and as well as what's going to happen at Water 7. And yeah, I guess I can't really talk about this arc without mentioning the man of the hour, Foxy the Silver Fox. Uh, Foxy, okay, I'm just going to say this. He is funny. Like he's a villain that you're not supposed to take seriously, and that really helps in his advantage because because he fails so much at just being an intimidating threat to the Strats. It's hilarious, as well as a bit frustrating. Like there's a fine line between funny and incompetent, and Foxy is leaning more towards incompetent, if you ask me. I already said how he was his own worst enemy when he blew himself up, but he also has a low self-esteem issues and a notorious cheater, as well as a bit of a douchebag. Like he shot Sherry like right after she reunited with her master Tangent, and then at the end of the arc, he's a sore loser. Like yeah, I feel like him shooting Sherry build him up a bit more than it should have. Like we expected right then and there for Luffy to just lay the smackdown on Foxy, like just one gum punch would just send him flying into the ocean, and that would be it. End of arc. But no, Foxy roped him into the Davy back, and yeah, I might as well talk about that. The Davy back fight. Like it's this ancient traditional pirate games that test your honor, and 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 there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to say that right now. There's nothing wrong with that, but for me personally, I find it a bit hard to get invested in these competitions the characters partake in because 9 times out of 10 the stakes aren't high enough. Like it's the reason why I'm only like sort of half invested in in my, in the arcs of My Hero Academia. Like in those arcs, like the worst that can possibly happen is to the students is that they lose a lose a lose a tournament or festival or get a bad grade, which admittedly uh, the which admittedly is bad. Like don't get me wrong, but it's not as bad as like they could die, is what I'm saying. And to be honest, like My Hero Academia to me is really interesting once the villains show up. Like, yeah, and 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 that's what. And because of that, I never really got into sports anime. Like, yeah, well, I'm just not a big sports fan to begin with, so take that for what you will. And the same can be said here. Now, the stakes were raised. Don't get me wrong. Like Luffy losing a member of his crew, but that's it. It's not like they're killed. They're still perfectly fine at the end of the day. They're just not a part of the crew, which to Luffy is bad, and because of that, I am invested in the arc a bit more so than I can say about say uh, the final exams arc in My Hero Academia. So yeah, so yeah, uh, thirsty. So yeah, so yeah, to me, competitions in anime at least don't really pique my interest as much as because they don't raise the stakes high enough for me. With Yu-Gi-Oh being the sole exception because the characters either have to win the duel or they die, or get sentenced to the Shadow Realm according to 4Kids. Okay, uh, and and from what I understand, in the anime they sort of kind of butcher it. Like the the Davy Backfight arc is extended like is twice as long and long with three new events. So and and, and everything from what I understand, it's a bit of a mess if you ask me. So yeah, so yeah, because of that, I feel like that's the main reason that this arc isn't fondly remembered of. Yeah. So okay, after that, like let's talk about Long Ring Long Ran for a bit. A Long Ring Long Ran is interesting. Everything is so long, but other than that, that's it. Oh, and the fact that it's one island like separated into 10 islands because of the tide, which I will admit is interesting. It's nice to see the tides play in part of One Piece. So, but other than that, but nothing really from the island itself affects the Davy back fight. Like the characters don't like toss a tall tree or eat long fruit. All the food is provided by Foxy in his concession stand. So yeah, or ride long animals or anything like that. That so yeah, and that's really disappointing if you ask me. Like take Alabaster when the Straws were on that island, like they they got hot. They got exhausted because of the sheer heat. Like after that in Skypiea, like if the Straw Hats fall through the clouds, like the they're taking a 10,000 meter drop to the to the blue sea. And later on in Water Seven, like Laguna plays a Aqua Laguna plays a huge role. Like that's the major threat in the Water Seven arc. And the enemy's lobby is something entirely different. So yeah, Long Long Man just doesn't play any role whatsoever in affecting the arc uh, affecting the Straw Hats in any meaningful way, aside from Tanjin and his horse, Sherry. And let's speak of Tanjin now. Good, good, good character. Bit of an, bit of an idiot. Like he got stuck on stilts when he realized he was afraid of heights for 10 years. Like, yeah. So yeah. And props to Sherry for sticking with her master for all that time. That's something you'll never hear me discuss you or or talk shit about. Yeah, and I loved her dedication, just waiting for her master. and that is and that's whole the catalyst for why Luffy accepted the Davy back fight. Yeah. And but Tanjin himself does not play any role in the Davy back or Sherry. Like no kidding. When the Davy back is going on, Tanjin and Sherry are back at their little hut in the center of the island. We actually see them in a panel. So yeah, which is kind of odd considering like Tanjin was ready to cap Foxy before shooting Sherry, and they're just like, oh, that's right now. The Straw Hats got this. Come on, Sherry, let's go back to the hut. And and yeah, so yeah, at the end of the day, the Straw Hats, I he just leaves. So yeah, a bit shallow when it comes to the Straw Hats interacting with the locals of the island, if you ask me. Okay, what else is that? Oh, Foxy's numerous returns. Now, I haven't watched the any of the episodes featuring Foxy after Longland in the anime, so I can't speak of this one way or the other. But I hear he appears twice back in the anime, like once after Thriller Bark and once after the time skip, if I understand correctly, which I find like both kind of hilarious and kind of yeah, no, scratch that, just hilarious. Like he's probably the most recurring antagonist the Strides have dealt with, if you ask me. Like again, I haven't watched the episodes Foxy appeared in, so but from what I've seen, like one of them might be a competition of sorts, kind of like the Davy back, while the other might be them working together. So yeah. So Foxy might just be the most recurring antagonist that's still opposed to the Straw Hats, if you ask me. Again, I could be wrong about that. So, and I just find that funny. As to why, I think it's because of he's such a fun character to just watch lose. Like he's arrogant, he's selfish, he cares about his crew. I will say that. You can't find too many pirate captains who care about the crew this side of the Grand Line. I will say that right there as one of Fox's main strengths. And yeah, and his crew very much deeply loved him. Like without a moment's hesitation, they dived right in the water to get him. And so yeah, If anyone, so that's one thing to defend about Foxy. What was I saying before? Oh yeah, I think it's because they keep bringing him back because he's somewhat easy to just watch and fail uh, in his sheer incompetence, and that's the best way to describe Foxy. Incompetent, incompetent because he sets himself up for failure so many times. I already mentioned him blowing himself up with his own bombs, but there are other instances where like no one falls for his cheating except maybe Luffy. Uh, Nami, Nami, Nami just straight up did not have any of his shit during Donut Race, and that was really funny. Yeah. Oh man. Uh, okay. Uh, Now for his Delft fruit up. The slow soap fruit is interesting. It's simple but effective. And Foxy can really use it to his great advantage. You know, as proven by his ship, using the weapons on his ship, as well as just using it on his opponents. Again, it's simple but very effective. Foxy's really good at timing out the 30-second delay on everything. Like seriously, in more competent hands, I can see that fruit being really really devastating. If you ask me, I wonder what an awakening of that fruit would be. But that's neither here nor there. Outside of the anime, Foxy has not returned at all in the manga. So not even in covers, not even in a cover page. So yeah, As far as we know Foxy is still sailing around the waters of the Longing Longland. So I take that for what you will. Really thirsty, yeah. Now, now for the reason why I don't think people really look too fondly on this arc. I think it's because like Luffy could defeat Foxy so easily, like the Davy back just wouldn't happen. The arc just wouldn't happen. Like one Gum Gum bazooka in Foxy's face and he's down. Yeah. And same can be said for his crew. Like he has the numbers in the anime. He has 500 members, but that's pretty much nothing to the Straw Hats. Like so, except no, not Big Bun, because so are Zoro and Sanji. Once they put aside the differences, uh, beat him down like 8 ways to Sunday. So yeah, it's because of Foxy's sudden declaration of the duel that makes the arc that kickstarts off the arc. Yeah, and to some people that's frustrating. Like like more frustrating than Foxy is funny. So yeah, just wanted. Okay then. Well, what else? Oh yeah. Uh, be, this reminds me of. This is sort of like back in the back in the Whiskey Peak arc, when Zoro and Sanji just absolutely floored Mr. Five and Miss Valentine's Day, like in their fight. Like they didn't even register them as proper opponents. They just floored them without a second thought. Then a few chapters later in Little Garden, Mr. Five and Miss Sunday, I mean Miss Valentine's Day, Robin did not appear in Little Garden. Uh, their main antagonists, but Zoro and especially Luffy cannot fight them because they are incapacitated. Zoro is in wax and Luffy is just oh boy, oh man, what just he's just prevented from finishing them up off just like that. And that to me is very frustrating. Like it's the reason why Little Garden is my least favorite arc in the entire story. I'll go in more detail when I actually get to a Little Garden. I don't know when, by the way, but yeah, that's something to keep in mind. So yeah, now finally there's Ice Guy himself, Aokiji, the first admiral that's introduced in story. He's good. Yeah. I like how such a high-ranking member of the Marines is such a chill dude. So yeah, and he's certainly a nice guy. Yeah, his motto is lazy to justice after all. And yeah, and right now Robin and his appearance freaked Robin out so much. Like who at this point in the story we knew nothing about. So seeing the man of her past come back, going just like that, like surprisingly after all, like just was like a whoa moment. And with his personality, like it was also pretty funny if you ask me. I like to think Aokiji was already on Longland before the Straw Hats arrived, just sleeping in Tanjim's tent, and just slept through the whole Davy back fight. Just oh man, yeah. Uh, so Aokiji and Luffy fight. Luffy gets frozen over, and Aokiji leaves, just like that. Because of his word, I already said that in the summary. But yeah, and to me, this is when the stakes are rose or risen high enough for me to actually care about what's going on the page. The Straw Hats could die. Aokiji made it very clear that he wants to kill them, but sorta. Uh, so yeah, that's when the stakes are high enough for me because like their lives are in danger. So yeah, that's everything. But no, Aokiji leaves, and you think Aokiji regretted that decision? I don't know. I don't think so. Akiji does not seem like the kind of guy to really care about loss, about regrets. He must find them too tiring. And on that, I'm signing out for the night. See y'all, and one last thing before I go. Because long look, because the Davy backfight doesn't have really all that significance in the grander story, aside from way down the line. I'm talking about mid mid 950 chapters, and even then, it's more like an expansion on the lore. Should you find do I recommend you skip it because it has that little impact on the story. And keep in mind, the goal of these videos is to get you to read the the p the the story I am summarizing. When I say can you skip this in the grander scheme of the story? I say so. However, if you find incompetent villains to be very funny, then I'd say go for it. Or if you are really interested in competitions like this, then go for it. I think the Dave bag it does provide that as well as a nice break from the action of Skypia and the action coming up in Water 7. So yeah, overall those are my those are my overall thoughts on the Davy Backfight arc in One Piece. I'm that guy with the tripod, signing out until the next video. See ya.